All right, we are here on the SchmearCast. I am rejoined by Alison Sivitz. We're discussing White Lotus Season 3, Episode 5. We were told this is the big one. We were told this is the one you gotta be seated for, that shit was gonna go down. It certainly did. Alison, welcome back to the show. What did you think of this episode of TV?
I loved it. I was so glad to see something happen, and it really just kind of hit the ground running and didn't stop. So yeah, big fan. What did you think? You haven't told me anything yet.
I really disliked this episode of TV.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I know Mike White works very hard, and he works alone, and he said that a writer's room would give him a panic attack. But, brother, this show is tired. It is lacking some fresh perspectives. This shit is stale. Where is the next layer to these characters? Too many characters and too many disparate storylines. Things are not clicking into place, and I thought that this episode exemplified that in a way that really let me down, gotta say.
Wow. Okay. I don't think you're wrong about the character stuff. I do think that there should be more to them by now, particularly Victoria Ratliff. We can get into it, but there's a moment where she, genuinely proves that she is out of the loop about what's going on in Tim's life in a way that we maybe questioned. We thought maybe she knows more, maybe there's more to her. I do worry that she is this is all we're going to get from her.
I feel like we've seen the characters be the same exact people since episode 1. And that really bothers me. And more than that, I just felt like we discussed, you and I, how the storylines could or should converge. And I thought we came up with some good ideas that weren't taken.
No.
And I feel like in a show like this, you want to constantly be compressing and bringing it together, because that's when you create and catalyze all these exciting reactions and interactions. And that didn't happen.
No, I did hope that the three women would end up in some sort of, like we talked about last time, I hoped that there would be some sort of convergence of those stories, and there wasn't. Although I love the bald Russian guy, I think his name is Vlad. He is hilarious.
Yep.
I was like, why are we adding more people to this right now?
Right. I think back to season 2. I mean, it's just fresher in mind than season 1 because it's more recent. Theo James, Aubrey Plaza, Megan Fahey, and Will Sharp, I felt like they were always maneuvering around each other in exciting new ways.
Yes, and I feel like we started there with the three women.
There hasn't been an injection of new, besides these Russians, I guess. But, who are these Russians? Why not mix and mingle with the major players otherwise set up within the story? I really hoped that this would save the season. I think we all did, because it has been slow leading up to this, and this is of course a build up to this episode, and here's the episode, and it just did not deliver for me. We could get into Walton Goggins and what the hell he does in this episode. I thought that was so bizarre, and it's exciting because it's a new character, and we'll discuss who that is. Why? What? How does it apply to him? I just was throwing my hands up a bit with this episode of TV.
I liked the Goggins stuff. If we're going to add a new character, it needs to be more of that and less of the Vlad thing, because I don't see how at this point that storyline will have enough time to unfold in a satisfying way. But something about the Goggins thing, it felt like a natural progression of his story that we've already spent a bunch of episodes watching unfold. So that I'm far more on board with. I really liked it. I think it encapsulated a lot of the themes of the season very well. So that, to me, was a solid piece of writing.
Let's slow it down. Let's cool off a bit. Let's back up. I like to start off the show by asking you a question. Here's my question for you today. How would you try to get a gun from Tim Ratliff?
Oh, how would I try to get a gun from Tim Ratliff? I would distract him with his phone. Yeah? I would just bring
wave it
up
in front of him,
things.
say, new notifications, Tim.
Your phone's going crazy. I would just, yeah, I would just remind him of all the things that are making him suicidal and going wrong in his life, and then he'd be like, holy shit, and then I'd just grab the gun and go.
What if you remind him, he runs off with the gun, blows his brains out?
He's very delayed right now. All of his reactions to things are very delayed right now, so I think I could outrun him pretty easily.
Okay, I think you're right.
I think he's the easiest one to steal a gun from on the show.
Well, you would think so, but what Gaitok is able or unable to do is just
Gaitok is useless.
It's really upsetting me. All right,
I'm sick of him.
I'm so tired of Gaitok. Let's get into the episode. That's the first thing I want to talk to you about. Gaitok versus Tim Ratliff. Gaitok is flipping out. I am shocked that this Paul Blart even remembered there was a security camera in that office. That seemed above his pay grade already.
Oddly resourceful.
So he heads to the dining area to try to find Tim and try to find the gun. And Fabian's like, what are you doing? As he should ask him, because this man has left the main gate after he's already let a robbery occur. And he says, I just want to see Mook. And brother, we all want to see Mook, but like, you got a job to do.
Come on, dude. Come on. I have nothing to say. He's just irritating.
So Piper's telling her parents her plan about the monastery. It goes as well as you'd expect, which means not well.
No.
I thought Vicky mixing up places in Asia was so stupid and like low-hanging fruit. I thought that was dumb writing.
Yeah.
I'm coming out swinging today, if you haven't realized.
Yeah, I do worry that the Parker Posey thing is getting too jokey and has become too much of a caricature. Yes. But she is crushing it. Like, everything she delivers does make me giggle just because she's, like, all in. But from a writing point of view, it's like, I think she knows they're in Thailand.
Yeah, and I think we need to see some new developments from the character. But as you mentioned earlier, hinted at, they don't come.
No, I will say that this interaction was far more explosive than I thought it would be. I really didn't think that they would care nearly as much as they did, as I've said multiple times. But
I think your take was smarter and more layered and more interesting, but we get the broader version.
Mike, call me.
I know. I don't want to do this now. I just want to say, like, he needs a writer's room. He is one man editing this, directing this, writing this for 3 seasons now, casting it, running the whole show. Yeah. Like, he needs some new ideas in here. I'm just saying it. I'm putting it out there.
I think a handful of people could benefit him. Even if he wants to write the scripts himself, just, like, pass it along to a room afterwards and get some feedback.
Yeah. So
even maybe he does. I don't know. He's probably a better writer than I'll ever be. But
no, he isn't. I'm not saying that for you. He is a brilliant writer, but
yes.
I just think that, like, you watch this episode and you wait for characters to change and for new layers to be peeled back and revealed, and it doesn't come.
Yeah.
This is episode 5. This isn't episode 3. You know, like, we are more than halfway through the season now.
Is this season 10 episodes or 8 or
8?
Do you know? 8. Okay. Well, then that makes it even more of an issue. Yeah, I think there is a world in which these characters develop really fast now over the remaining 3 episodes, and we do get some sort of like overall, arc change, whatever. But I think the pacing of it has been very stilted.
Yeah.
It needed to happen a little more by now.
My favorite byproduct of the Vicky character is Parker Posey on the morning show earlier this week. Piper, no! Tsunami. Buddhism. No. I had to do my version. I had to give it a try.
You're pretty good at it.
Do you want to give it a go?
Oh God. It's
on the spot.
I will abstain.
Did you see Patrick Schwarzenegger's version?
I was just going to say, they had him on, and I was like, you'll never be her.
He got roasted in the comments.
I know. Like, don't even try. The shape of her mouth, like, the way she, like, when you have to pronounce words, like, she's doing it, there is something very almost Pittsburgh about, like, Western Pennsylvania about it. So if I tried to fall into it, I could probably do it, but I'm not about to take my first shot.
We got 3 episodes left, so we're going to get you doing it. One of these episodes.
I'll nail my impression down and come back next week stronger.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's head over to that boat heading to the full moon party.
Yeah.
Chelsea says to Chloe, I could never cheat on Rick. I'm a romantic. Yeah, that's exactly what people who are about to cheat say. So.
Yeah. I will say.
I was almost like excited to hear that because I said, yep, you're going to cheat.
Yeah, it makes me sad because I do love Rick. We were kind of spot on last time when I said that Chloe and
you were
Lachlan were gonna hook up. That's exactly what happened.
You were spot on.
Although, well, thank you for the credit. Although Saxon was far more on board with it than I thought he would be. He was kind of like pushing his brother to hook up with her, which I was surprised by. But 2 for 2 with the Chloe Lachlan thing and the Chelsea not wanting to cheat.
I think people are misunderstanding Saxon. And there's like upset online about him and how misogynistic and awful he is. And to that I say he is. I get that. But he is a wild card, and we need Saxon. And I loved him just fucking shit up in this episode and being his crazy ass self.
I think in terms of, like we were talking about, in a show where the characters seem to be largely unchanging and a little one note, he is definitely the most interesting at the moment, because you put him in any scene and you kind of don't know what he's up to, what he's going to do. Yes. So in that way, he is delightful, but also I just hate him. But you have to be able to, I don't know, separate the art from the artist. I don't know.
I'm not so sure about that. The brothers seem to be a little more interested in each other than the ladies, which should come as no surprise, as we've seen earlier this season. I like this interaction. We're just brothers being brothers. Brothers bonding. Brotherly love. Let's talk about the Russians and the ladies. This scene definitely was one of the more entertaining sequences of the episode.
I think I just enjoyed...
You got a thing for Vlad?
He's so funny. They were like introducing each other, and he said, my parents are dead and my sister is a bitch, which is just like, what a way to... just coming in hot.
He's got the most tragic stories ever.
Yeah, and he's such a downer.
In terms of workouts, he loves to flip tires and hammer things.
Yeah,
and we get this line from Kate. I did softball. Good, Kate.
Yeah. I found myself really liking Kate this episode. I identified the most with Kate this episode, which is not something that has happened to me previously in any way, shape, or form.
You didn't identify with Lori just absolutely throwing it on the dance floor, just giving herself over to the beat?
Well, of course.
That was incredible.
We've
Carrie
all been
Coon in this.
Carrie
She was
Coon
my MVP of the episode for me.
Okay, I think Leslie Bibb was my MVP, but Carrie Coon gets an honorable mention for sure. She was just going for it, very loose, doing some great physical comedy acting, whatever you want to call it. Like, she was crushing it.
It was great drunk acting, too. And I feel like Carrie Coon is a very composed performer, whether that's in Gilded Age or in The Leftovers. And here she was just having so much fun being the crazy one, because that's just never the role she gets to play.
Yeah, I wrote that note down as well. Shout out to Nora Durst. We don't ever see her like this. We don't really even see her happy.
Often.
Yeah. So this was awesome. I also think that Michelle Monaghan did some incredible drunk acting in the last scene.
On the dance floor, I thought she was great too, because they clock these younger women staring them down, dancing with these buff Russians. And I love Jacqueline's face, or what she does, which is just like get more into the beat, let the guys grind on top of her, showing that she's still got the goods, and she might be right about that.
Yeah, she's stunning.
Let me just tell you, Alison, Shia LaBeouf.
That was great.
I'm holding my spindrift up to you.
That is the type of writing that I want to see. That made me laugh.
That was funny.
Yeah.
So was Lori taking that shot at the table, and everyone just being shocked.
I want to hang out with her. What a party animal.
Belinda shares her concern about Greg Gary to Fabian, and I thought Natasha Rothwell was really good in this scene, which almost more spoke to what she hasn't had the chance to do all season, which is anything. Am I wrong?
No, I've been
just to see her acting and performing, I was like, where's this been?
She was fabulous in this episode, and particularly in this scene. I think this is a conversation that a lot of women can relate to, and many people can in general, but particularly women. This is a very familiar experience where you have a gut feeling about something or someone, and you maybe don't have all the facts to back it up, but you just have this intuition that you're born with and that is cultivated within you just by being socialized as a woman in the world, and you try to communicate that to someone, usually a man, and they are just like, no, you're overreacting. No, I didn't get a bad vibe from him. And it's like, of course you wouldn't get a bad vibe from him, but I'm telling you that I feel unsafe and I'm scared and I need help. And then they just completely write it off.
If anything, she gets told off because Fabian's like, it's not right to gossip. And you're like, what?
Yeah. Also, he is suspicious to me now, like deeply suspicious to me. I think
I kind of felt that too. I was curious, like, am I suspicious or is he just being a jackass or both?
think he's being a jackass, but I also think he's darker than we think he is. Yeah, so he kind of lost my trust there, but then he sort of won it back when he started offering Gaitok and acid, because I've been like hitting the acid hard lately, and I was like, this guy rules. Of course he has that on him.
He's a nervous little German. All right, I don't want to upset you too much, but we have to return to Gaitok and Tim. Round 2. Because round 1, if this is a little fight to get the gun, nothing happened.
No.
At this point, I'm very frustrated because a lot of time temporally is taking place within the episode, but then we return to this dinner and Gaitok just standing there, and it's now suggesting that Lisa's performance is like 2-3 hours. Like, I know that's not what it actually is, but in terms of editing, this scene progressed more slowly than the others.
Yeah.
And that bothered me. Am
No,
I
I
crazy?
agree. No, I agree. I think you're spot on with that.
At this point, I just am in disbelief that Gaitok left his post and is taking so long to confront Tim.
Yes. It is a thing also of, not to go back to the writing and like bag on it, but when characters are making decisions, like, do these decisions make sense for where they actually are in the story? Like, I don't buy that he would choose to do that at this point. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or if he's going to do it, he needs to be far more decisive. He wants to be part of Sitala's bodyguards. Well, you're not showing it by letting a catatonic man sit there with your gun for an hour.
Yeah.
I'm just like, hello. Gaitok is so stupid, and I'm with you. I can't deal with him anymore.
Thank God. I'm glad you came around.
I get angry when he's on screen.
Same. Yeah.
And speaking of disappointment, that's Mook's dance. That's what Lisa does on this show. This is a world-class pop star, a pop sensation, and that's all she does.
Maybe she'll get to do more, and Fabian will get to do more, and they'll be on stage together, just like really going for it.
That would make me very happy.
Yeah. Would that save the season for you?
It might. That would be really taking it more into like a Christopher Guest angle.
And we have Parker. And we had
Parker, we had Jennifer Coolidge. I feel like Christopher Guest is in Mike White's bones, so to speak.
Yeah.
I can't quite tell you how it connects, but that would be more fun at least.
Yeah. Yeah, there are some exciting directions we could go.
I am just, again, so upset with Tim and just how no one knows what's up with him. And if my dad started singing songs from when he was an altar boy, I would be freaked the fuck out.
Yeah.
It's just treated like this another day at the park with Tim Ratliff.
Yeah, that is perplexing. Again, I said this last time, but like Piper is a smart young woman. She is not on drugs, but like she would know. She would notice. This is not making sense to me that she's just like, oh, dad's being dad.
If it went on for one episode, okay. It's been 3, 4?
Yeah.
Another frustration for me.
Yes.
Something you mentioned that kind of bothered you is Piper and Vicky, and I am with you. They just talk in circles in this episode. There's some funny lines that Vicky gets to say to Piper, but it's just a circuitous nothing burger of a chat.
It feels like this script was written with a lot of jokes and a lot of moments that, you know, we wanted to hit on and hear Parker say, and the actual meat of it was not considered as much as it should be because it didn't really do anything. At a certain point, it was just very repetitive.
I think that it just really stands out when some scenes of this are exciting, things are happening, and then others are so static, like this.
Yeah.
It's going to feel off when you try to give us both. That's why combining would have been best, but I know that's hard to write, that's hard to do.
Absolutely.
You're creating a situation where you just feel an imbalance, like where one scene in this feels exciting and the other feels boring as shit.
Yeah, writing
I know
is
I'm being
hard.
hard,
so
but
no.
I know I'm being hard, but I'm just saying how I feel.
No, I do agree, but at the same time, like, I know how hard writing is, and also I love this episode still. So, like, you know, many things can be true.
Let's go to where things are a little more exciting, and that is the full moon party.
Yes.
Saxon says to Chelsea, "I'm a fresh breeze," and Rick keeps not picking up that call. Chelsea's moving a little over to Team Saxon. And I don't blame her. I was actually rooting for Saxon and Chelsea.
No way.
Because I want chaos. I want chaos in this show.
I don't want that for my good sister. She deserves better. No, I was actively rooting against that. If she cheats on Rick, I will be devastated. That is not the type of thing I want to see.
Fuck Rick. I don't care. Don't care about him.
Could not be me. I agree that Saxon obviously is a very compelling character in the grand scheme of things, but I hate him and I don't want him anywhere near her. And the fact that she was warming up to him made me, I'll say it, physically ill.
Do you like guys that speak in the third person?
Love it. No.
Saxon says, Saxon doesn't do drugs. I am the drug.
I would have literally kicked him hard in the shins. That is so upsetting.
Last episode, we mentioned there might be an angle with Lachlan potentially usurping his brother.
Yes.
And doing that because he's more sensitive. He's taking the best qualities of his siblings. Mm-hmm. And that didn't quite happen, but there was an interesting line here from Lachlan when he's drunk, when he's high. He says to Saxon, one day, I'm going to take you down.
Yeah.
Did you clock that?
I did. And I was like, ha 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 ha. The SchmearCast is ahead of the curve, I fear.
Is one day tomorrow, tonight? Is
Who
it
knows?
years from now? But I was kind of like, okay, little guy. A little fratricide coming? Could he kill his brother?
That'd be awesome. I would literally love that.
Free us from the tyranny of Saxon Ratliff.
Yeah. No, but I still do think it's possible because there is still a world where everything that I want to happen happens and Chelsea does not cheat on Rick, but Lachlan and Chloe hook up and then Saxon is left high and dry and he gets pissed off that he was not included. Yeah, I don't know. We didn't like fully see anything unfold in terms of like who hooked up and who didn't. Like we only saw them kiss shortly. So like there is still a world where this happens and we watch it unfold. And I hope it happens because I really like Lachlan.
So Belinda, when she can't find a sympathetic ear in Fabian, turns to Porn Chai, who spends the night. I don't have that much more to say about this scene. Good for them. Good for those crazy kids.
Hell yeah. I've been wanting this to happen. I was so stoked for her. Also, can we talk about the lizard? There was a lizard in her room. We found out that that's what she's been hearing in the walls or whatever.
Or could it? Or could she been hearing something else? Plus
exactly.
lizard.
Because he said, you must have left the door open and let it in. That led me to wonder, did someone else leave the door open? Was someone else in here? Is there some kind of shenanigans going on in this room when she's not there? So something to keep an eye on.
Yep. So we followed the ladies and the Russians from the club back to the villa. And I feel like here's where I even understood where Kate was coming from. Because her danger detector is up. And I thought to myself, they are going to rob these ladies blind, the Russians. And I think Kate is right to be wary. Nothing quite comes of that, or maybe not yet.
No. Again, with that feminine intuition thing, she has it. She's trying to flag it to her friends, but they are so wasted that they don't care. Also,
I hope anyone over the age of 8 has the intuition to not trust 3 massive
random Russian
guys tatted up from their head to their, you know.
Don't tell them where you live. I mean, one knew, but like, there's no need to get all of them in on it. No, but I loved Kate in this scene because she fully is like, I want to go home. I want to go to bed.
She's incredible.
She's in her pajamas when they're all in the pool. Like, she became my girl in that moment, even though she's a Republican or an independent, sorry.
Leslie Bibb's face that she makes when the guys are flexing before they jump in the pool.
So good.
She's just like shock and horror.
Yeah.
In this scene, you know, it's kind of cross-cutting between here and the full moon party. And it was going for something kind of rhythmic and scary, and there's this tribal drum coming in. And I was thinking it's too horror-tinged and not sexy enough.
No, it didn't really bother me. I was more interested in the cuts to Piper.
Oh, she's meditating?
I wanted to talk about the Goggins thing before this because there are some connections that I made with what he was saying and the cuts to Piper that we see.
Let's go to Bangkok.
Okay,
shall we?
Let's do it. I loved it.
Take us away. You just rewatched this scene. You just told me off mic. Set it up. Tell me what happens. Tell the listener who makes a surprise appearance too.
Okay. I want to preface this by saying I've been watching a lot of Walton Goggins interviews lately, and he has charmed me. I think he's awesome. Love him. Would love to like hang out with him. I think we'd queen out.
Might make you do like 200 sit-ups with him though.
And that's fine. Like I could use the core strength. I complain about my core strength or lack thereof every day. Walton Goggins has a very close friend in the industry who he loves and brings up a lot in interviews. So I was like, oh my God, okay, that's cute, whatever. So I'm sitting there watching White Lotus. Rick goes to Bangkok. Rick meets his friend. And lo and behold, who is his friend? It's his dear friend in real life, Sam Rockwell, which delighted me.
Leslie Bibb's long-term partner, Sam Rockwell.
What?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I don't want to paint too vivid a picture for the listener, but I shared a urinal stall with Sam Rockwell recently before a juror number 2 screening a couple months ago.
Wow. That's really special.
And I said, Sam, how you doing? He said,
Did you
good.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Post-urinal.
Okay, I was going to ask.
That's bad etiquette.
Did you say hi while you were at the urinal? That would be kind of fun.
It was in the hand washing stage.
Okay, good. I'm really glad that you made that call. Anyway, Bangkok. Sam Rockwell shows up. They are going to go get a drink. They go to the bar. We find out that Sam Rockwell has been sober for, I think, 10 months, which Rick is very surprised by. They've never hung out sober. They've only known each other from what we can imagine are sort of like party days.
Right. At this point, these are mirrors of each other, right? And then with every bit of information, you're seeing Sam Rockwell's on a different elevated astral plane, as he says, than Rick, perhaps.
Yeah, he's sort of a more evolved version. Or is he?
Is he?
It's hard to make that call. But he orders a chamomile tea. Rick orders alcohol. They get to talking. Sam Rockwell basically says like he got sober because he was partying and he was sleeping with like sometimes 4 or 5 girls a night, and it was this whole crazy thing. And then he basically says something along the lines of, I realized like maybe I don't want to sleep with these women. Maybe I want to be the women. And he talks about how he started inviting guys back to his apartment, and he would dress up like these women, and he would, have them fuck him.
He wants to be an Asian woman. That's what he said.
Yes. Again, like
very specific.
Yes, a lot to get into here. I will say his repeated doubling down on the fact that he wants to sleep with Asian women or be an Asian woman. I thought it was a good way to kind of show how Westerners tend to fetishize Eastern culture, Asian women, whatever it might be. I thought that was, it's gross to hear, but it's like well done, I think, as a writing tool.
Yeah. I mean, it's perfectly acted by Sam Rockwell, too.
Yes, he's
and
fabulous.
Delivered. So deadpan, so serious.
Yes.
And then the cuts to Walton Goggins' mouth just agape. He's like, uh-huh.
He's like, really?
I was cracking up at that.
Yes.
But I think what you're saying is kind of interesting. Up to this point, I was just like, this is the big Bangkok scene. Like, this conversation has no verve. Like, what's the next shoe to drop? And then
he slides a bag over to Walton Goggins and says, I hope you don't...
we kind of knew what that was pretty quickly, right?
Yes. He says, I hope you don't need to use this. And then we eventually find out that that's a gun. And in a later scene, Walton basically tells Sam Rockwell, like, stand by, I might need you tomorrow night for something. So there's more to come with these two, but their relationship is very interesting. I have some thoughts. What were your thoughts?
Well, back to the Rockwell story time with Sam Rockwell. I think what you're saying is really fascinating because it is a fetishizing and it's not right for a Westerner to talk like this, but at the same time, it's an evolved way of thinking in a really weird way. So you're kind of trying to reconcile how strange what he's saying is with how calm he is and like at peace. So I didn't know what to make of it. I thought, again, Sam Rockwell acted it beautifully, perfectly. But I couldn't help being like, what does this mean? What does it mean for Rick? What is the application of this within the story?
Yes.
Do you have any ideas on that?
It reminded me deeply of Saxon because you have this man basically talking about how he had these unhealthy behaviors. These manifestations of his desires were just very detrimental to his well-being. And then he realized, like, oh, he might be gay, he might be trans. There's some sort of queer identity tied up with him. I just want to
repeat the line. I invited men over to rail the shit out of me. And then he says later, I asked myself, could I be an Asian girl?
Yeah. Hell yeah, brother. Go for it. But there is this idea that this sort of reckoning with gender, sexuality, all of these things has led him to sobriety. And he said he found religion. And then you look at someone like Saxon, who is so hyper masculine, like Piper says, like she is attempting to break away from the things that she's been told and the values that have been kind of given to her that she maybe doesn't actually align with. Like, she's going above and beyond to break away from this and find her own path and pursue her own religion, etc. Saxon and her brother, as she notes, are not doing this, and she can't be like them. And you look at someone like Saxon, who is not making any sort of effort to question these things and is just very fueled by testosterone and these like very misogynistic beliefs and ways of being, and he drinks and he ends up doing drugs in this episode. And yeah, I don't know, this is not a fully baked thought. I was just like, oh, it's very interesting that someone who has not reckoned with their sexuality and all of these people who have not reckoned with their belief systems or religion are, you know, on substances, are in trouble, all of this stuff. So it kind of felt like whatever Rockwell was saying can be applied to any character in the show. I
think that's really smart. But then how does that apply to Rick, would you say? Because that's who he's having the conversation with.
I don't fully know. I think that's the very interesting thing. Rick is kind of the one person who it doesn't apply to. Maybe like Chloe and Chelsea, it doesn't apply to as much, but I'm interested to see what their relationship actually is and what unfolds later tomorrow night, as Rick said.
Do you think that any of it, and the answer could be no, but do you think that any of it is piquing Rick's interest? I think later he says on the phone he needs him for a bit of role play, and I feel like they're going to pull off an attack or an assault together. But
yeah,
the choice of role play as a word, when we just heard about this man's strange sexual proclivities, I thought was kind of interesting.
It is interesting. No, I don't know. I don't want to make any just
cast
like
aspersions on Rick.
Yeah, I'm very
also wanting to be an Asian lady.
Maybe. Yeah. No, I'm compelled by this dynamic, and I'm excited to see how it unfolds. I don't fully know what that's going to look like, but you know, it's more exciting than some of the other stuff that's going on right now.
Okay. We'll be watching that and seeing how that develops. But again, just 3 episodes of it, so chop.
We're almost done.
Lori, MVP of the episode, Carrie Coon, but it's Jacqueline who gets the man at the end of the night when she invites Valentine over. And you just have to imagine this is what Jacqueline's been doing to the 2 ladies since they were kids, stealing their men.
Yeah, it was kind of heartbreaking to me because Carrie Coon really felt good. She really felt like she was doing something. Yeah, she was like having the night of her life, and then
she did like an Elaine Benz dance, like a little shuffle step heading back to her room. There was just like an innocence and a happiness.
Yeah,
and then Jacqueline
and then to see it all upended by the.
But were you surprised?
No, not at all.
Yeah,
but it is sad. It makes me sad for Lori.
We'll see what happens there because I don't think she'll be happy about that.
No, that's going to be explosive, I fear.
The participants of the full moon party, the night's winding down. In one of the more tender moments in the season, and I think we're feeling these vibes and picking up on them, but Chelsea and Chloe have some serious love developing between them.
Yeah.
Romantic love.
You think?
Oh, yeah. I thought at least Chloe was kind of saying, I mean, she tells Chelsea she's beautiful, like moves some hair off of her face, and I thought of any 2 characters, they might love each other the most within this show, within this season.
I do think so. Whether it's romantic or platonic, I do think that is the most solid relationship in the show. I really like them. I
can see them like stealing off, leaving their men, becoming lesbian lovers across the planet. You know?
Ugh, that would be amazing. No, there's a lot of I think a lot of people in this season are I think Saxon's gay. I haven't said that yet. I think as we saw with Sam Rockwell, like that kind of unfolding of like gender and sexuality, I think, as I said, Saxon could, you know, use to reflect. If they ended up being gay too, like, hell yeah, that'd be amazing.
Before that happens, though, Chloe is interested in some young man action. And she says, let's have a foursome. And then Amy Lou Wood's line reading of, whoa, that was very funny.
Yeah, she's crushing it. I didn't like this. It made me feel weird. Those guys are brothers.
It's like a little song you just sang.
Yeah, really unsettled me.
It's almost dawn, but it's still dark out. We're in this dark room of the yacht. It's like a non-diegetic scene, so Saxon's kind of like pointing at the ladies. The music's playing. They say, should we? And then kiss. Lovely kiss. And I was thinking, you know, that's real. Like, something's real between them. And Saxon, great here. Just like a, ha-ha, lesbians, like, double high five to his brother that we just have to imagine excited him deeply. But then the girls point to the boys and say, let's go. And the brothers make out with each other for about 5 seconds,
it
8
starts
seconds.
as a small kiss, and then
and
then Lachlan is like, no, like, let's go for it. Which again is like Lachlan is
grabs
more
the back of Saxon's head
and
says, come here, brother. You didn't like this?
Like, I get it, but I don't like it.
No. I hope no one really likes it.
I hope
Lachlan.
I hope everyone's kind of like, ew.
Lockie likes.
Ew.
It's hard to ask you if a scene of incest delivered, but did this deliver for you? Is this how you would hope this night for them climaxes? That's the wrong word to use, but you know what I mean.
When you say hope, I am kind of always hoping that the incest doesn't happen.
Sure.
But this is actually milder than I thought it would be. So
I think
in
so
a
too.
way, I was kind of relieved. But at what cost? Like, I don't know. Like, I thought it would be way worse.
You know, back to that scary versus sexy thing. I just thought this episode was going to have more out-and-out carnality, you know, and just more action sexually.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I needed that. I just think that would be more realistic for the characters almost.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with the Sam Rockwell of it all next time. I feel like there might be something happening there.
He could fuck the whole cast for all we know.
Yeah.
Or have them fuck him. Episode ends with our favorite ending, right? We've been loving it every episode. It's back to the Tim Ratliff show.
Back to Tim.
Yeah, I'm being sarcastic. I didn't like this at all. Tim's about to pull the trigger. I say, do it, Tim. Like, I'm tired of you.
Yeah, that would have been
serious, but like
crazy.
kind of serious. And Vicky walks in, and he's like, do you know my expectations? I'm like, bro, man, I don't care. Haven't cared about you all season.
Yeah.
Do it, don't do it. Don't care about your expectations. You
just
steal
make a
money
decision
from people. Like, I think Mike White just genuinely thought that this would be the most fascinating storyline this season. It's maybe in the bottom 10 storylines for me.
Would you have liked this episode more if he had pulled the trigger?
Yes. Not condoning suicide.
No.
I mean, that's a thorny thing. I'm not telling
Just
anyone what to do or
narratively.
not do, but like,
No,
yeah,
as a
like,
narrative device,
yes.
as, you know, talking about like moving the story forward. Okay.
Kind of needed it.
Yeah.
Kind of needed it.
Yeah. I don't know if I disagree.
And that's the episode. And I don't mean to throw cold water on your excitement. I still think it sounds like you liked it a lot more than I did.
I
but
did like it, yeah.
I just had so much frustration within this. Through talking with you, I am seeing the Sam Rockwell thing in a better, newer light. Other than that, all my issues stand.
Okay, well, then I did my job. I think... some of your complaints I agree with as well. So we've kind of made each other a little more neutral on the episode, I think.
For this to be the big one, and to, whether we like it or not, kind of be neutral, has to just scan as a disappointment, a bit.
Yeah.
What do you think people will think of this episode?
I think they'll like it. I think there's enough forward motion that we haven't seen in the previous episodes where people, maybe like myself, are almost tricked into thinking they like it because stuff happens. I don't know. I think it'll be a warmer reception than the other episodes of the season. And again, like, I liked it, so maybe other people will agree with me. I don't know. But we'll see.
I feel like in past seasons, plot lines have clicked into place really nicely in a way that's not happening here.
Is there one in particular that you're thinking of? Like, is there one character, one storyline, one thing that you're really holding as the epitome of what the show should be?
Just the way that the wheel turns and everyone's kind of swept up in the same momentum.
I see. Okay.
A character finishes a conversation, turns down the hallway, runs into someone from the other storyline, takes that into another, and it's just this ensemble magic that Robert Altman, for example, is so good at in like Nashville or Gosford Park, that I feel like really inspired much of the first and second season. And this feels like way too many cooks in the kitchen, which is ironic because the main cook is just one chef in a massive kitchen, and that's Mike White. But with the characters, we have so many of them on so many different journeys that aren't converging and connecting, and that's where I have an issue. And I feel like at least 2 or 3 folks could be removed from the show to balance it better, to have these collisions occurring in a more organic, better way.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
As I look forward to the next and final 3 episodes, I need some of that to happen to really be happy.
Yeah.
I need these shapes and these puzzle pieces to just kind of connect, because they're not right now.
Yeah, I agree. I hope there's more forward momentum in the last few episodes. I think there has to be, in order for it to wrap up in any sort of real way. I don't know. I think Belinda's son will get here next episode, so that's also, again, it's like another character.
Person.
Yeah. I don't know what that's going to look like.
What do you want with these 3 episodes? And what you want can be like amorphous. You don't have to tell me a specific plot line that needs to happen, but just feeling wise.
I would love everyone to get back to the hotel. I want everyone in one place.
Good call.
Yeah, I think more than anything.
No snake shows, no boats.
We need to bring
it all back home.
And if I think Goggins could bring Sam Rockwell if he wants. I want everyone in one place.
I like that. I think that is really smart and would do exactly what I'm asking for, which is just simplify this damn thing.
Yeah.
I hope you're right there. Any last thoughts about Season 3, Episode 5 of The White Lotus, The Full Moon Party?
No. Just again.
Want to try your Parker Posey impression one more time? Or
Tsunami. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'll come back next week.
Okay. Alison, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For coming on. I'm so interested to see what people are going to think
about
this episode and what they have to say. But these are our thoughts. You heard them here. Thank you so much.
Bye.